Hey guys, I hope all's well. First, a little editorial. Guys, you got to put the time in. Please stop rushing through the IXL by looking at algebra apps and stop rushing through the assignments by skipping the video and going right to the problems and either getting help through, someone that's at your house or using an algebra app to get the answers. You're just not learning anything, so why even bother? Anyway, today, and that's not everybody, but we have people that know who they are that are not putting the time or effort in. Anyway, today's going to be the end of lesson 22.1 using square roots. Let's get into it. So first up, you can see the difference in the problem, the way that and what we were doing yesterday is now we're putting a 5 outside the quantity. So in order for us to try to get the x by itself, we're first going to divide both sides by 5. Now, since that was multiplication, these 5s are eliminated and we're left with x plus 7 squared equals 5. Now, after we get to that point, we're going to take the square root of both sides. That's why that square root symbol is there above both this quantity and the 5, the prime number 5. So now when you take the square root of the quantity x minus 7 squared, you get just x minus 7 on the left side. And on the right side, as we already know, we're allowed to have two answers on that. So the answers would be plus or minus square root of 5, because 5 is a prime number. There's no way to simplify that any further. Now next we would use add 7 to both sides in order to get the x by itself. And you see when we put that together, it's on the left side it's just x remaining, and on the right is 7 plus or minus the square root of 5. Ms. Follis, our vice principal's married name, her married name is Ireland.
Using the square root idea as a means of solving simple quadratic equations, sort of handy. Let's take a look at this one. 9x squared minus 49 equals 0. And I want us to solve this using the square root function. Well, the way to do this is to just try to isolate the x squared. So first let me add 49 to both sides. So I'll have 9x squared equals 49. And then I'll divide both sides by 9 to undo the multiplication by 9. And what I see is x squared equals 49 over 9. And now, when I take the square root of both sides, on the right I see positive or negative the square root of 49 over 9. And what does that equal? Well, that equals positive, negative. The square root of 49 is 7. The square root of 9 is 3. So I see two answers. X equals 7/3 and x equals negative 7/3. And we can actually substitute back to check. Let's just do this sort of really quickly here to sort of see that this seems okay. So a little check. A little check is always a good thing to do. When I put in, let's try the negative 7/3. So 9 times negative 7/3 squared minus 49. Well, negative 7/3 squared is going to be 49 over 3. And I get a little bit of cancellation here. 49 over 9, because I have to square 3 too. And I get a little bit of cancellation. And I see 49 minus 49 equals 0. It checks.
All right, here's another one for you. 3 times the quantity x plus 8, that quantity squared equal to 15. So first we're going to divide both sides by 3. Okay, so like we said, we're going to divide both sides by 3. And since this is multiplication, we can divide 3 by 3, and on the other side, 15 divided by 3. So we get x plus 8, that quantity squared, and 15 divided by 3 is 5. Then we take the square root of both sides, because this square tells us that we need to in order to get rid of that, we need to take the square of both sides, and then we have x plus 8 Okay, everything else disappears. And on the right side, two answers plus or minus the square root of 5. 5's a prime number, so we can't do any more than that. Next, we're going to subtract 8 from both sides. Minus 8, minus 8. And we go to, again, two answers. X equals negative 8 plus or minus the square root of 5. And these are definitely not in like terms because the 5, again, is a prime number. So there's nothing further we can do to simplify that. So that would represent your answer. My family and I watched a movie tonight called Blast from the Past. Okay, we have one more problem. It's a little different. X minus 16, that quantity squared. And we do have a perfect square on the right side, and that we have the number 225. So first I take the square root of both sides, and on the left I'm going to end up with just x minus 16. On the right, the square root of 225. So this is how that looks. X minus 16 equals, now don't forget we have two answers on the side. It could either be 15 or negative 15. Negative 15 times negative 15 would also give us 225, and then of course 15 times 15 would give us that. So now we add 16 to both sides, and what's going to result is two answers. It's kind of the first one we did like this tonight. So you could see here we have plus or minus 15. Therefore, the plus 15 plus 16 gives us an answer of 31. And the minus 15 plus 16 gives us an answer of 1. So the two roots or two answers are 1 and 31. Do you know where your math teachers went to college? Well, guess what? Trenton State College. Dr. Atkinson, okay, Dr. Zoll, and Mr. Ogden all went to the same school, and that is Trenton State College. All right, guys, I'm going to make up 5 or 6 problems that go along with this and ask you to do those. And then tomorrow we'll start with 22. Well, we're almost done our week already because Friday you don't have school. It's Memorial Day weekend. So anyway, we took a couple days, 2 days actually, to do 22-1, and I think that's an important section. So hopefully you got something out of it, and work hard on those questions that I get for you. Okay? Have a good night. Well, good night for me. Tomorrow will be the day for you. See you guys.